if you could choose one thing that, pretty much this is like a public service announcement. If there was one thing that you just wanted everybody to do once a day, or you wanted everybody to make it part of their daily schedule, what would it be? Like, what do you think is important to changing somebody's outlook on life?
Uh, I guess what I would want uh, people to do more is like if people were to do this once a day would be just to like learn about something,
Yeah.
like to look up something you don't know much about and just read up on it and understand how it works. Like for example, I love learning about like space,
Astronomy.
just yeah, astronomy in general. And I recently looked up what a quasar actually is,
Yeah.
and I think it's like a quasar. Pretty much, it's when a supermassive black hole at the center of a galaxy, like it'll have like a huge amount of like dust orbiting it, like
Yeah.
space particles and residue, and it ends up creating one of the most luminous objects like in the night sky. Like it's much brighter than any star,
Yeah.
and I think that's fascinating.
hmm
And how like it essentially, if like a galaxy's big enough, it'll have a quasar at the center.
Yeah.
And like if like most, I think a lot of people wouldn't even really know
What
what
it
a
is?
quasar
Yeah.
is.
What it
Like
would
if I
be?
were to say, do you know what a quasar is?
I
People would
I
just say
don't.
no.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I think if people were to do that every day, they just learn about a lot more things. And I think learning is like just a wonderful feeling when
Yeah.
you learn about something.
Hopefully, to most people it is. But
Mm-hmm.
I have two. One of them is one you just made me think of.
Yeah.
It kind of goes off to I am more of a believer of taking small steps instead of big leaps, I guess. So if somebody were to really sit down and like analyze something that they want to do, but maybe there's something you want to do but you just can't yet. There's something in the way. Like you want to learn. I'll just say like you want to learn guitar. Um, but you don't have the funds to buy a guitar yet, so you in your eyes you can't even start. You can still do your best to learn sheet music and like understand how to play guitar, like guitar music, without actually holding and like physically playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You can still watch a few videos that help you figure out like what guitar you want to buy, and like how much you can still like prepare yourself and do like these like short things so you're like better prepared, I guess, instead of just holding the entire project off until like things get better, quote unquote, I guess. I feel like there's always little things you can do which are better than nothing, I guess. So I don't know. I just believe in short term goals again instead of like the big leap to something great because the short term goals I feel like are more consistent and it's always good to meet a goal. So if you whatever if you don't want if you want to be more healthy, so you go I'm going to eat healthy, and then the next day you just try to eat healthy and it sucks because you're used to eating unhealthy, and then after a week you can't do it because you're too used to your old diet and you go back and you fail and you feel awful.
Mm-hmm.
I am much more of a believer of instead of making that big leap of I'm going to eat healthy, just say I'm going to cut out sugary drinks or just cut out one thing that's bad for you. Do that for like 2 weeks, cut out another thing, or like a month, cut out another thing, and then like slowly get used to not having these bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And then because every time you meet one of those goals, it will feel great and it'll lead you to want to do more stuff. I think. So yeah, one is like short term goals. Two is just meditation and putting yourself in your own little world and just overall thinking. And I think meditation's like probably like the most miraculous way to think. Um, like I like brainstorming a lot too, but there's something about meditation that just puts you in a different mindset that I can't explain. Um, and it's one of those things where it might be a little bit weird or awkward for people to do at first because it just feels unnatural, but you get used to it so quickly. Like at least try it for 10, 20 minutes, and it should be starting to feel natural. You just get lost. And the thing that I think is great about it, it's the same as what I said about empathy earlier, about how it's just hard to lose with it. And the best way to describe this is I feel like I sort of get all curled up and I start meditating and I just start thinking about things. And then I sort of get in this state where I don't want to leave. I don't want to stop meditating, which is why sometimes I meditate for 20, 30 minutes. And I just don't want to get out of it. And then I thought about when I was meditating, I thought about how, like, there's really no way I can lose right now. Just like with empathy. It's like the worst case scenario is whatever, I stop meditating and I go do something else that I also want to do, because meditating just put me in a more clear-headed, like clear mood, and it just made me feel better. So whatever, I'll stop meditating and I'll go read a book or practice piano, and it'll be fun. And then the other scenario is I just keep meditating and it's awesome. So it just it's done a lot for me to help my paranoia, I guess, and to help me really think about tackling some of the stuff I want to get done. It made seem, the best way to put it, it's made things seem a lot less hard for me. Like things are a lot more achievable and doable. It's helped with that a lot. So I would at least recommend trying it. It's obviously not for everyone, but I think it's for most people. Um, yeah, that's my PSA
Mm-hmm.
for things I think people should do. Short-term goals and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Creativity versus consumption.
Oh.
Do you have anything to say about that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you lead into it.
All right. So I feel like a lot of people think that creating is so much better than consuming.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you're a creator of art, like if you're a painter, you have like an incredible talent. But if you just love looking at art, like people would think like, okay, so
Yeah.
But when you think about it, like there need to be people who love looking at art for there to be art. Like why would you waste time creating if no one's going to enjoy what you create?
Yeah. It's it's sort of how the things around you kind of define what is you. So it's almost like the appreciators of art is what makes art relevant. Without them, there would be no basis. There would be no reason to create. Well, there still would be if you want to create art for yourself. But ultimately, what we're trying to say is, what's the point on like looking down on people who aren't creators when in reality they're sort of giving they're giving the actual creators the resources to continue creating by appreciating the things that they create. There's still a um, an like I guess an unrespected or yeah, an unprecedented sense of respect for people who consume things, because a lot of the time consumerism has like we said about a lot of other things, it has a very negative stereotype around it, like, oh, you're consuming, you're just giving people more money for nothing and all that stuff. And obviously, like the police system that I talked to later, there's a lot of things wrong with it, but ultimately you sort of need one to have both, or you need both to have one.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like it's sort of just like a circle that goes inside itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Like the reason people paint and like write music
Yeah.
and make any art is so like they can sort of express their emotions and opinions and just express themselves.
Yeah.
But like if no one cares, why would you waste the time expressing yourself if no one cares but you?
Yeah. Because, like I said, the things around you make you you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you tell a few jokes and everybody laughs, then you get the idea that you're a funny person. But if nobody laughs, you think you aren't.
Yeah.
And even if the joke is like the exact same, it's based on who's around you
Mm-hmm.
instead of what you're saying. This leads to another. If you have something else to say about that, you can. But I have another thought.
Mm-hmm. You can just lead into your
All
other
right,
thought.
my other thought that I thought about at work this week is assumptions, I guess. And I think people do this really weird thing, including myself, where they'll assume things, and then if they're correct, they just feel awesome, like they justify, like, oh yeah, I was right. But if they're not correct, they just say it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, like they don't think they're wrong, they just think it's weird. Like it's not. Oh, that's not what I expected. That's weird. And my example for this is like you can see. Let's say you see, or let's say you go to work and you see a woman who is dressed like a man. So she's wearing like her snapback hat. She has these like stretchers on, very very short buzz cut hair, like these like saggy like black pants that a bunch of guys would wear, like with her boxers showing, and like just dresses 100% like a dude.
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody would look at her and assume, oh, this person is gay. this person is into girls,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they dress like this and they carry themselves like this. They want to be a man. They are into girls. And then later on, they see that same person, kissing a guy. Instead of thinking, oh, I was wrong about that, or I didn't really know, they would just go, that's weird. Why does she dress like that if she is into guys? Like, why does she perceive herself in this way if she's not that sort of thing? But if they went outside and they saw that same person kissing a girl, they'd be like, oh, yeah, I was completely right. I know everything. So they sort of justify what's right and they don't question what's wrong. They just go, that's weird. Why aren't they exactly what I thought they would be? And it just gets into how often my assumptions are wrong.
Yeah.
Because I definitely spend, especially with people, I've spent a lot of time just looking at people and going, oh, they're probably like this or they've probably done this. When in reality, like, I don't know anything about them. And they can be I've met so many people that are so different than what I initially thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
They're just into so many things I would never think that they would like. But yeah, overall assumptions are stupid, but I keep doing them.
Yep. I guess like something I assume a lot is like when I just meet someone at work, I find it really easy to just assume that like I guess what would be the right word? They're just like a normie.
Fuck you.
I kind of want. I gotta say it's the best way to describe it, but they're like I don't know, almost empty-headed. Like just sort of do things
Because
that
everyone
like
else does.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like have these long, in-depth like personal thoughts about themselves, and they don't. Uh, what's the right way to describe this? Like
The interesting
they
thing
just
is,
sort of like do normal things, and that's it. They sort of just exist.
mm-hmm.
But like that's not true at all.
Yeah,
Like almost everyone will have like complex opinions on things and have like complex emotions that like they sort out themselves and think about
yeah,
and complex thoughts and like I think any person I've ever met could blow me away
they
if I
definitely
got to
could.
know
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
But like just when you meet some random person, it's easy to think that they're just like some empty-headed like there's nothing special about them when in reality, like if you really got to know that person, you'd probably be surprised.
I feel like there's even if you have certain thoughts like that towards people, there's always going to be another person who has the same thoughts towards you. I
Yeah.
guess. Like somebody will look at me reading Lord of the Rings at work and be like, "Oh, he reads Lord of the Rings. He must like a bunch of other popular book series. He
Mm.
doesn't. He's just like everyone else, or whatever they would think." But it's like we're always just going to be assuming things about each other, and at least for me, I'm definitely an introvert, so it just sucks that I'm so bad at conversations and like starting things with people sometimes, because I do want to get to know more people. But yeah, it's not always easy.
Hmm.